Good morning, hello, and welcome to today's daily cyber briefing. I'm your host, Rich Benfield. It is Monday, October the 21st at 8:30 in the morning, and I'm standing in for Stephen Ridgway. So, the headlines this morning: Cyprus thwarted a digital attack against the government's main online portal. Open source LLM tool primed to sniff out Python 0 days. Internet Archive exposed again, this time through Zendesk. And researchers discover severe security flaws in major E2EE cloud storage providers. And hackers exploit Roundcube webmail cross XSS vulnerability to steal login credentials. Cross-site scripting, sorry. It's a bit early for me this morning, so yeah, I'm going to stumble over my words a touch. Okay, so back to the top of the news. Cyprus have thwarted a digital attack against the government's main online portal. Cyprus said Sunday that it successfully thwarted a digital attack aimed at blocking access to the government's central online portal, the latest in a string of similar attacks over a 3-day period against state-run utilities and the Cypriot subsidiary of a Greek energy company. Cyprus's Deputy Minister of Research, Innovation and Digital Policy said in a statement that a quick and coordinated response by authorities foiled the attack, whose purpose was exclusively to prevent access to specific government websites. The Distributed Denial of Service attack, or DDoS, only affected the main government portal gov.cy for a few minutes, and that no other online government ministry or service website was affected. The Deputy Ministry didn't say who was behind the attacks or what the possible motive may have been. Sunday's attack came after Cyprus's electricity and telecommunications authorities, as well as the operator of the island nation's two airports, Hermes and fuel company Echo Cyprus Limited, were targeted on Friday and Saturday. Officials told the Cyprus news agency that all those attacks had also failed and that no client information had been leaked or compromised. Next, open source LLM tool primed to sniff out Python 0 days. Researchers with Seattle-based Protect AI plan to release a free open source tool that can find 0-day vulnerabilities in Python code bases with the help of Anthropic's Claude AI model. The software, called VulnHunter, suitably abbreviated with some missing vowels, was announced at the No Hat Security Conference in Italy on Saturday. The tool does not simply paste some code from the project and ask for analysis, explained Dan McInerney. Oh God, sorry everyone, just bear with me. Lead AI threat researcher at Protect AI, who developed the software with colleague Marcello Salvati. It automatically finds project files that are likely to handle remote user input. Claude analyzes that for potential vulnerabilities, and then for each potential vulnerability, Claude is given a vulnerability-specific, highly optimized prompt and enters a loop. In this loop, it intelligently requests functions, classes, and variables from elsewhere in the code continually until it completes the entire call chain from user input to server output without blowing up its context window. The advantage of this over current static code analyzers is a massive reduction in false positives and negatives, since it can read the entire call chain, not just little code snippets one at a time. This approach, he claims, can reveal complex multi-step vulnerabilities as opposed to flagging functions like eval, open and close implications. The tool was originally designed using Claude and used Claude's best practices in prompt engineering, so it performs by far the best using Claude, said McInerney. We included the option to use OpenAI's GPT-4, and we tested it with GPT-4, but got poorer results. Modifying the prompts to better fit GPT-4 is very straightforward, and using the GPT-4 model is just a change in one line of code. By open sourcing it, we hope to encourage modifications such as these as new models come out. So far, he says, VulnHunter has found more than a dozen 0-day vulnerabilities in large open source Python projects. All of these vulnerabilities were not previously known or reported on the project to the project maintainers, he said. Okay, so the tool presently focuses on 7 types of remotely exploitable vulnerabilities: arbitrary file overwrite, local file inclusion, server-side request forgery, cross-site scripting, insecure direct object reference, SQL injection, and remote code execution. Okay. And this article is on the Register. It goes on and on and on, but that's all you're going to get out of me because it digs into some technical stuff that isn't really appropriate for this session, for this briefing. However, the links, as usual, will be provided in all the socials, so you can go and dig in as deep as you'd like yourself after the event. So, next up in the news, Internet Archive exposed again, this time through Zendesk. Despite the Internet Archive's assurances it's back on its feet after a recent InfoSec incident, the org still appears to be in trouble after parties unknown claim to hold access tokens to its Zendesk implementation and to have used them to send a mass email blast. The claim was made on Sunday in the form of an email sent to those who have tried to interact with the archive and had their requests routed to Zendesk, which is a SASE sort of customer service platform. The Register received the email in response to their most recent request for comment on the archive's woes. The email says, it's dispiriting to see that even after being made aware of the breach 2 weeks ago, IA, that's Internet Archive, has still not done the due diligence of rotating many of the API keys that were exposed in their GitLab secrets, before claiming the mail was made possible by the presence of a Zendesk token in that trove. As demonstrated by this message, this includes a Zendesk token with perms to access 800k plus support tickets sent to info@archive.org since 2018, the email states. Whether you were trying to ask a general question or requesting the removal of your site from the Wayback Machine, your data is now in the hands of some random guy. If not me, it'd be someone else, the unidentified emailer wrote, before finishing with, here's hoping that they'll get their shit together now. It's unclear if the author is the same entity who recently defaced the archive's website and called out the org for lax information security. Posts to various social networks indicate the Register is far from alone in having received the email. The org's social feeds and blogs are silent on the matter at the time of writing. Well, this isn't great, is it? I mean, I popped a little post up on LinkedIn about how the Internet Archive, the Wayback Machine, should be sacred. Nobody should be touching that. You know, what they do is just a great thing for the internet. But equally, if they haven't got their security shit together, then I can't say I'm surprised it's happened. But still, I've sort of sad times all round, really. Hope they get it sorted soon. Next, researchers discover severe security flaws in major E2EE cloud storage providers. So in the Hacker News, cybersecurity researchers have discovered severe cryptographic issues in various end-to-end encrypted cloud storage platforms that could be exploited to leak sensitive data. The vulnerabilities range in severity. In many cases, a malicious server can inject files, tamper with file data, and even gain direct access to plain text, ETH Zurich researchers Jonas Hoffman and Keen Trong said. Remarkably, many of our attacks affect multiple providers in the same way, revealing common failure patterns in independent cryptographic designs. The identified weaknesses are the result of analysis of 5 major providers such as Sync, pCloud, IceDrive, Seafile, and Tresorit. The devised attack hinges on a malicious server that's under an adversary's control, which could then be used to target the service provider's users. A brief description of the flaws uncovered in the cloud storage systems is as follows. Sync, in which a malicious server could be used to break the confidentiality of uploaded files, as well as injecting and tampering with their content. Actually, these are pretty all the same. Sync, pCloud, Seafile, IceDrive are all the same. Tresorit is slightly different in that basically they can tamper with they can also tamper with metadata in the storage, but essentially you can break confidentiality of files, you can inject files, tamper with content. The techniques can be used to speed up brute forcing of user passwords. So yeah, basically, again, we'll put the links to this. If you use any of those platforms, then absolutely go ahead and check out this document and consider in great detail changing provider. Okay, finally today, hackers exploit Roundcube webmail cross-site scripting vulnerability to steal login credentials. Unknown threat actors have been observed attempting to exploit a now-patched security flaw in the open-source Roundcube webmail software as part of a phishing attack designed to steal user credentials. Russian cybersecurity company Positive Technologies said it discovered last month that an email was sent to an unspecified government organisation located in one of the Commonwealth of Independent States countries. However, it bears noting that the message was originally sent in June 2024. Well, that's very much a case of please hold caller, your call is important to us. I mean, Jesus Christ. Anyway, it's no worse than the customer service I've had out of some suppliers recently. The email appeared to be a message without text containing only an attached document, it said in an analysis published earlier this week. However, the email client didn't show the attachment. The body of the email contained distinctive tags with some statements which decode and execute JavaScript code. The attack chain that Positive Technologies identified is an attempt to exploit CVE 2024-37383 with a CVS score of 6.1, a stored cross-site scripting vulnerability via SVG animate that attributes that allows for execution of arbitrary JavaScript in the context of the victim's web browser. Put differently, a remote attacker could load arbitrary JavaScript code and access sensitive information simply by tricking an email recipient into opening a specially crafted message. The issue has since been resolved in versions 1.5.7 and 1.6.7 as of May 2024. By inserting a JavaScript code as a value for href, we can execute it on the Roundcube page whenever a Roundcube client opens a malicious email, Positive Technologies noted. The JavaScript payload, in this case, saves the empty Microsoft Word attachment roadmap.docx and then proceeds to obtain messages from the mail server using the Manage Sieve plugin. It also displays a login form in the HTML page displayed to the user in a bid to deceive victims into providing their Roundcube credentials. In the final stage, a captured username and password information is exfiltrated to a remote server hosted on Cloudflare. It's currently not clear who is behind the exploitation activity, although prior flaws discovered in Roundcube have been abused by multiple hacking groups such as APT28, Winter, Vivern, and Tag70. While Roundcube webmail may not be the most widely used email client, it remains a target for hackers due to its prevalence in use by government agencies. Attacks on this software can result in significant damage, allowing cybercriminals to steal sensitive information. Okay, so obviously the advice there is just to patch if you're using it. I don't actually know anyone that is using it, but if you are, yeah, pay attention, patch up and you should be okay. And that concludes today's Daily Cyber Briefing. I've been your host, Rich Benfield. Normal service will resume tomorrow with Dr. Steve.